Hi, it's Short Video Friday, July 11th, week of July 11th, and even though you won't be seeing it on July 11th, it's something you'll see eventually, trust me. Yeah, so anyway, my next topic I want to discuss is a need without a needer. I guess I'm going to discuss a lot of simple and concise topics, and I guess I want to discuss this one because it's one of those obvious topics to discuss when it comes to discussing need and want and value, and how you need a needer before you have the need. Of course, you need someone that needs the need before you have a need. There's no needer, therefore there's nothing to have a need. That's a pretty simple and basic concept. In many cases, I don't know exactly what influenced my decision to make these because they're so obvious. But I guess it's just something to have and fill up a day's worth of video, and I guess I want to discuss it. So a need without a needer, of course. The needer is the one that has a value because the needer has to have something. If you're a needer, therefore by default you have a value because you need something to satisfy a deprivation you may have, and it's not a need unless it's a deprivation. You need something in a specific circumstance. I think I mentioned this in another video where you need something, and depending on the circumstance. So you need something, you need this to have this, you need a pen, you need the pencil to write something down. In a specific circumstance, it comes down to semantics or description. But you need something in a specific circumstance. You need food to live. You need food now to live. You need to get rid of your tumor to make sure you can live another 6 months or whatever it may be. It depends on your description, and it depends on the thing that the need in the end, what you want to accomplish, is relying on as the need to accomplish that thing. So yes, you need the needer before you have the need. So the needer is the thing that has the need for something. I think it's a prerequisite. Sort of like any prerequisite, you need this class before you can take this class. It's something that you need before you can take the other class. I mean, I don't really know where to go with this subject. It's very obvious you need a needer before you have the need. There's no need without us. Someone can have a need for us. Okay, I need you to live, otherwise I will kill myself or something. You don't necessarily know that, but you can exclaim it, you can say that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's anything, because a need, saying you need something, is just an exclamation. It's just something, a statement you say. But in many cases, obviously need is kind of irrelevant when it comes to determinism, but not really, because something needs something depending on within the limits of something deterministic. Because something's deterministic doesn't mean a needer doesn't have a need anymore. It still needs to do something, even though something's going to turn out a specific way. Just because it's going to turn out a specific way doesn't mean it doesn't need anything. It doesn't mean there's not a needer and there's not a need that the needer needs to satisfy to get the accomplishment. Then it relies on the accomplishment or the thing that you're trying to get in the end that makes the needed thing needed by the needer for a specific circumstance, a very specific circumstance. But without the needer, you don't have a need, and there's no need without the needer. There's no need for us. Another person can have a need for us, but if there's only us, we can only need. And another person can have a need for, say, another human being or another sentient being. But outside of the sentience, there's no need for us to exist outside of our own self-perception and projection of existence based on our projections that we have, at least as our subjective projections of what we may need, even though we don't necessarily need them. And we only need to exist. We only need because we want to exist. There's no need beyond a wanting to exist. So in many cases you can say a need only has to be relevant when it comes to wanting to exist, because there's no need. If you don't want to exist, there's no need to do anything at that point. And then again, it comes to the specific circumstances, and it does come down to a more exact, proper description of how to describe need in the specific circumstance that you need. So without a needer, you have no need, and there's no need. Even though you can be needed, another person could say it. When it comes down to words and description, and that's how a person may state something. Well, that doesn't mean anything beyond that. And there's no need for us beyond us, like the non-existence out in the universe. There's no need for us once we don't exist. And there's no need for us to exist to begin with, other than the need that we project onto what we may feel and what we may project, our subjective, whatever we may need, depending on a specific circumstance, and it usually comes down to a specific circumstance of survival. Because otherwise, what would be the need if you didn't want to survive? You need to eat, you need to drink, you need to do this to get this done, you need this to get that done. And when it comes down to it, it's just you need this to get this to feel like you're satisfied enough to survive long enough to live another day to make your existence worth living. You need to do this to make your existence worth living. You need that. Obviously, like any other word, it has a very kind of multiple interpretations kind of thing, but not really. It has a, depending on the circumstance, kind of interpretation, where it's used in many different contexts, and it can be seen in many different ways, even though it's generally used in a very precise enough way, context, where you can generally understand what a person means when they say they need something. But there's no need without a needer, and that's the basic point. Without me, I can't need, and there's no need for me to begin with other than the need I have for someone else, something else. Though there's only value in some other sentient existence. We have a need for them, and the need we have for anything else is just a projection based on what I feel like I need or want to have value, and it only has value because I project value onto it, as opposed to something else that has actual value by existing in and of itself. So if a person's existing, they have value, and if and I guess you can say they're needed to have comfort to have a reasonable existence, because that's what we all, I guess, want, is we're trying to fight for comfort, and that's in many cases you can say we're not fighting for survival, or for fighting for comfort more than anything, because why survive if you're horribly uncomfortable? But whatever value I project onto something else, that's not a sentient being, it's just a projection I have. And while a person, in pain, or me wanting an apple, the person in pain is something I should go to, as opposed to the apple, the brownie, or the cupcake. Even though the cupcake may satisfy me in the end, it's better to get satisfaction out of helping someone in need, that's a sentience, and in need of some kind of aid or help, to get some kind of satisfaction out of that, even though the apple may offer more gratifying satisfaction immediately. In the end, you're serving more of a valuable function if you save the person in need immediately. You're saving the person that actually has value, as opposed to your projections of value on an apple. So I guess you can say that's more of a needed concept of value, if you want to apply need to anything. So yeah, need. There's no need without a needer, and there's no need for us other than the need that we project onto something else, or in using words to describe a circumstance of what we feel like applying, based on our perception and how much weight we want to put on something, based on the need we may feel like we need to project on something we want. Say I want an apple even though I don't need it. I say I need it because I want it so much, or something like that, or as opposed to the need. This person needs to be saved if they want to live. That's more of an exact example, because it actually has value, and I think need can be applied more to value than anything else. But without that value, obviously, if there's no value, there's no needer. And without the value, there's no need. And the value is what creates the need, or at least the description to describe something as needed to begin with. So without the value, there's no need. And there's no need for us to exist to begin with anyway. So without the need, there's no value. And vice versa, without the value, there's no need. So there's no need without a needer, and there's no need for us to begin with. And obviously, it all exists because we find ways to describe something based on our existence and our projections of value, and how we describe a specific circumstance using the words that we use on a daily basis, like we need and want, and this and that and the other thing. So yes, I think I described that good enough. So if I have anything else to say on the subject, I can always mention another video. So thank you, and until next time, bye.